Welcome to Flash CS5 Tutorial 49. Board Game Zipline Part 3. It's a follow-up to the Tutorial 48, which was Board Game Zipline Part 2, and I have that FLA opened on my computer. I'm back on Scene 1. I'm going to relabel this layer, the zip line. I'm going to call it zip lie, and I'm going to call it capital UP, so I'll know that's my up lines. I'm going to insert a layer and call this zip lines down. So now we're going to go down. Z-I-P-L-I-D-W-D-N, down. Select frame number 2. Insert a keyframe or blank keyframe, it does not matter. That's the only layer that's unlocked, so everything I put on is going to go on that layer. I'm going to make this fit the window. Yes, I can see that. Pick up the straight line tool, and I'm going to make sure my stroke is red, and I'm going to start at 82 and I'm going to go down to 46, and I think I want that to be 8. Yes, make that 8. I think that's what I was doing the math. Okay, there it is. While it's highlighted, modify it, convert it to a symbol, and it's going to be L-I-N-E line 11. I'm doing this because you might want to put a whole bunch of more lines in. Copy that and paste it in as a instance name. Now I'm going to do 2 more like that, and then I'll get back. Okay, I now have, if I look here, a line 11 underscore MC, a line 12 underscore MC, and a line 13 underscore MC. And while I have this, I know I'm going to need these blocks, so I'm going to make those blocks movie clips. So lock all the layers, unlock the squares layer, select that frame 2 of the squares layer. There's my other movie clips, and start here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, 100%, and I'm going to start up here, and I'll just do the one with you and you can do the rest. The first one I'm going to do is this square, 82. So I'm going to highlight it, modify it, convert it to a symbol. It's going to be SQ82 underscore MC. Copy that and paste it in here as an instance name. And while we have it selected, open the color panel up and let's give it a tint. So let's make it a bluish color. There. Okay, so that's what I'm going to go with for these ones, for the top ones. So now what's the other top one? The other top one was number 90. This one right here. Highlight it, modify it, convert it to a symbol, SQ90 underscore MC, copy it, paste the instance name in, and change its tint. And I'm going to do the last 4 and I will get back. Alright, I have all my movie clip squares made to movie clips, and if I select them, there they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, I didn't do this one down here. This number right here, number 7. Didn't do that one yet. Now I have them all done. And what I want to do is lock them layers and go back to the lines up layer. Lines up, excuse me, lines down layer. So unlock that layer, select that second frame, and one at a time we're going to go in and do these. But before we do, let's open one of the line that were up lines. For example, let's open line 1 and let's copy this, highlight it all, right click, copy those frames. Now go back. We could open the down ones from here, but we wouldn't see the stage, the background. Okay, so click on any one of these. We're in line 11. Call this layer line. Insert a layer. Click that frame 1, right click, paste your frames, and that gives us all that action code. Insert a keyframe. And now we're going to start here. So put a bunch of keyframes. I'll just do this one with you. This doesn't matter how many you put or how close, it isn't going to make a big difference. And we're going to start leaving it all there, go to here. So at this point in time, we're working backwards, okay? It should not be quite all the way down. So pick up the eraser and take off some. And again, I'm holding my finger. Go back, take off what you took off plus a little more. Go back, plus a little more. Go back, plus a little more. And as long as you leave some on the block, we're good. So now, do the last two, and I'll be back. I have all my down lines made, so I'm going to lock that layer. But now I want to go back to this squares layer for a minute. Since we've put this keyframe in, we've made some changes here. For example, these down keyframes have not been moved into this. If I highlight this and look here, it has an instance name. But if I go here and highlight it, it didn't carry over as a movie clip because we put this in after. So let's click on the frame, right click it, and let's just remove that frame. Now go back to that spot, insert a keyframe, and now we brought those movie clips up where they should be. So you can lock that layer now. We now have to write the action script for those down. So select the frame 3, open the actions panel, and down here below all these, right here where this last one here is, where I start this dice movie clip, type, 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 and it's commented out // it's line 11 down, and I'll just tell you what it's doing. You can I'm sure by now you know how it works. This is an if, and it's checking to see if player 1 has hit that square 82, and if indeed it did, it wants that line 11, which is that one on 82, to start moving. So it'll get longer, go down the page. There's the close bracket for that. This is the same thing except for player number 2. When he hits block 82, the line will move, the same thing. So now you can copy this and just make the appropriate changes for line 12 and line 13. So I'll stop. Now if this is not good and you don't like me doing these quick like this, let me know and I can spend the time to go through the whole thing. Okay, this is the same thing for line 12, but this time it's block 90. That's the only difference. It's block 90, and here's player 2 block 90, and there's the down for 13. This time it's using block 69 for players 1 and 2, and here it's 69. So that's for the only action script we need to have changed on that frame. Make sure that you change this line here to line 13, because that's what we're in. And up here, I didn't mention it, make sure you make these line 12 and line 12. Okay, so let's go back to the main timeline. Select action frame 4. And we need similar thing for the downs. Let's keep going here after this section where it says line 3 up. Before this go to. And we have to put in something very similar. Type. It's commented out line 11 down. It's where player 1, if it hits 82, so this is the same, but now we're telling player 1 to go to square 46's. So here we're doing the y coordinate and the x coordinate. Don't worry about this yet. I'm just going to comment that out. And we want to go line 11 back to frame 1 and stop. So you're going to do that for player 2. Again, comment this out. Don't worry about this at all. Again, square 82 is going to send us down to 46. Just like up here, square 82 sends us to 46. Then we're going to do line 12, where square 90 is going to send us to the coordinates of 43. Square 90 is going to send us to the coordinates of 43. And finally, the last line, it's when the players hit 69. That sends us to the coordinates of square 7, line 13, naturally. And same thing for player 2. Square 69 is going to send us to the x and y coordinates of square 7, and line 13, go back to frame 1 and sit there and wait. Let's go back to the main timeline. Select frame 1. That's where our variables are. And I'm going to go after this player count, I call it. And I'm going to put 2 new variables in. One is called player position 1. It's colon number equals 0. And player position 2 colon number equals 0. These are going to help us determine what square it should be on after each dice. It's going to calculate that for us. Let's go back to the main timeline. Select frame 2. Now this is strange, but here with our start button, this is when we roll the dice. Right here under this player count, we're going to put that variable in we just made. Paste. Player position 2 equals player position 2 plus whatever's on the dice. So whatever it was before we diced, it's going to add it to it, so it's always going to be updated. And it looks funny for us to have a 2 in here when we're really dealing with player 1, but that's because when I declared my variables, this which player, I made it a -1. And I'm not going to go back and change all that, but that's the reason why this ends up being position of player 2, but it's really player 1. It'll work out for you. If you want to go back and make this a -1 and change it, you go right ahead. So copy that, come down here, paste it, and this is going to be a 1 here and a 1 here, so we'll always be updated and we'll always know what position this players are supposed to be on. I'm back on the main timeline. I'm locking all my layers. This play text layer, I'm selecting that, insert a new layer and call it position, POSTXT, and ST for static. Select frame number 3, insert a blank keyframe or a keyframe, and somewhere over here put in this line of text. It says player 1 should be on square. When you have that finished typed, get the crosshairs, right click, copy it, paste it in place, and then just use your arrow key and put it down, knowing that I'm going to have something here. Lock that layer, insert a layer, call it POS TXT DY for dynamic text. Select that frame 3 again, insert a keyframe. Now go back here for a minute and make sure that these are static text. Should have said that. Make sure they're static text. Okay, lock that. Go back to the dynamic text right here. Make sure dynamic is selected this time, so pick up your text tool. Make sure it says dynamic because we're writing script with it, and put a square in here with 2 zeros. The value here is 0. I would be on block 0, and put another one here and make that 0 0. Select the top one, just the top one. Open your properties panel, and it's asking for a instance name. So type in this instance name, player 1 position underscore txt. Player 1 position underscore txt. Copy it. Click the second one down here. Paste it in here and change the 1 to a 2. And copy that. Maybe we might use it right quickly. Lock them layers now. Select the third action layer, the third action frame, and go way up to the top. Right in this here, between these two, if you haven't got a space, make one, and type this in. Now you just copied this, so you could paste that in to start you off. So it says player to position, capital P, underscore txt, period text. That tells me I'm going to treat it as text because I'm just transferring what's written there. It's not like I'm doing math with that particular thing. And it's equal to string, capital S, should turn blue, open bracket, player position 2. That's what we're going to tell me every time the dice rolls. This gets updated. Close bracket, semicolon, copy that, paste it in, and change this 2 to a 1, and change this 2 to a 1. So now let's go to frame 4, and what we can do now is make sure that the position is updated when we hit one of these zip lines and scoot off past where we were. So starting at the very top here where it says line 1 up, and we're talking about player 1. So player 1 position 1, or excuse me, player position 1 equals 84. That's that number right there, 84. So copy that, copy it, come down here, paste it in. This time is player 2. Come down again and let's paste it in. It's player 1, but now it's going to be 94. Copy it. Come down here. Paste it in. It's going to be player 2, 94. And go right down. Well, let's do it together. Copy this. And now I think we're down the line, the last line. Paste it in. It's going to be player 1, 37. Copy it. Now we're going to go to the up. Oh, one more here. Paste it in. Player 2, 37 matches. That's good. Copy it. Now we're on the down ones. And paste it in. And this time it's going to be whatever that number is, 46. Same thing. Player 1. And do the rest of them. I happen to have them done. I'm just going to take my comments off. Comments off. Now with all this, there's bound to be some errors. With all this action code we wrote, with all this action code, we're bound to have some errors, I would think. Okay. Back on the main timeline, out where this says frame numbers, click this frame 5, right click, insert a blank keyframe, right click again, insert a blank keyframe, select this one here, frame 5, open your properties panel and type this name in it. We're going to call it capital P1, capital WINS, player 1 wins. Copy that. Select that next frame and paste it in and change the 1 to a 2. Open frame 3 of the actions panel and down the very bottom here, after all this dice stuff takes place and after this roll, put this code in, type, and it says if player position 1 is greater than 100, that means he was somewhere in the high end here and got enough on his dice to make the total value greater than 100. Go to and stop. This P1 wins. That's the frame that says player 1 wins. There's the closed bracket for that if. This is pretty much the same. This time as if it's player position 2 is greater than 100. Go to and stop. P2 wins. Now all we got to do is put some text on those two boxes. Back to the main timeline. Make sure all the layers are locked. Select this position text dynamic, insert one, call it win lose or win, W-I-N. Select frame 6, insert a keyframe, select same frame 7, insert a keyframe, select frame 6, come down here and pick up your text tool and big font. There, player 1 wins. Copy that. Go to this frame. Paste it. Let's change the 1 to a 2. Player 2 wins. Okay. Gotta unlock this static text one right here. Click there. And just check here and click in here. This should be player 2. I think we're ready to try this now. And I'll try to explain how it's working for you. It's by no means foolproof, but you can see these are my up points. These are the down points. And when player 1 rolls, it says he's got a 1. So player 1 should be on square 1. And as far as there is needs to be some honesty to it, because he could actually put it here, for example. Right? Let's say he did put it there. And then this guy, number 2, would roll. But it would say here, player 1 should be on square 1. So it's up to the other player to say, hey, look, that's supposed to be back there. So when it's your turn, you make sure you put him back here. Player 4, player 2 should get a 4, so he goes to 4. Now it goes back to player 1, who should have been on 1, right? He picks up another 1, so now he's supposed to be on 2. So now it would be time to straighten him out. So did you get that? So let's say we dice, and this one here is on 4, so let's dice again. Because it picked up a 3 for player 2, he's on 4, therefore he should be on 7. This guy dice. Player 1 dicing now. Player 1 should be on 3 because he's already on 2 and he diced 1. So this part keeps you honest. Okay. Player 1 should be on 3. Player 2 should be on 9. Why? Because he was on 7 and he got 2. Player 1 should be on 5 because he's on 3 and he got 2. Now watch this. So as soon as you click it, it's going to go up. It's going to put him up there on 37. So when this guy dice, it says player 1 should be on 37. Player 2 should be on 15 because he was on 9 and got 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could have it so that this score, and every time you moved it would check it to make sure he was on the right square. But that means you'd have to make every square movie clip. So now let's pretend they're up here going. Let's pretend they're up here somewhere. And it's going to be player 1's turn. So let's roll the dice. Player 1. Let's say he was up here and he got on here. He would scoot up to there. That's good. Now roll the dice. Let's say player 2 got enough to put him all the way to here. When he rolls a dice, he scoots way back to 43. So when we roll the dice again, it says he should be on 43. Player 1 is on 84, but he's got 4 points, which sends him to 88. I'm going to set it up so player 1 is on frame 95, and the notification says that indeed it is on frame 95. Let's start from here. Let's say he's sitting here. We'll forget about player 2 for a minute. Now player 1 is on 95. He got 3, so he goes to 98. So you can't just cheat because it's keeping score. Rolls again. He goes to 52. So you just can't cheat because this reminds you of where you're supposed to be. Now he's on 98. He rolled 3, which takes him to 101. So now this time it should say he won. Player 1 wins. And there's no errors. Wabi. This was a long one. I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you use what you learned.